Hey Islanders, what is up? This is Levi here with today's video on how to get teammates to work together. This video is a part of a video series on the Fundamental Pyramid of Overwatch. If you're unfamiliar with the Fundamental Pyramid of Overwatch, I suggest you go back and watch the overview video now. So last time we talked about the 4 fundamentals of Overwatch. Micro at the top, supported by macro and meta, all of which is supported by management, our ability to control the people behind the keyboards, or controllers. Given that management is the foundation of the Fundamental Pyramid of Overwatch, and tends to be the most frustrating for players, let's focus on that, for now. A player who can effectively manage their teammates has a much stronger skill foundation than one who cannot. Likewise, a player that can control their emotions, not tilt, and not be salty, is better suited for competitive success than one who cannot. The number one excuse bad players give for the rank is bad teams. Here's a big pill to swallow. Maybe you just suck. But that's okay. You're here, and you're willing to improve. So how do we get people to do what we want? Let's take a step back. What do we want? Let's think big and say we want to win. Congratulations, you now know the motivation of most players. You now have something in common with your team. You want to win. In order for your team to win, you need to work together. Overwatch at its core is a numbers game. The team with a bigger collaborative presence in a team fight will win 9 times out of 10. However, due to multiplayer matchmaking, often you're dealing with 5 people you've never met before. So how do you get yourself and 5 others to work together? You use ear flap, a 7-principle approach to improving teamwork. Practice these 7 communication principles and you'll start noticing that you will win more and your games are more enjoyable. The first of the 7 principles is engagement. This isn't knowing when to engage in a team fight, but rather how engaged you and your teammates are to the team dynamic. I'm sure you've been in a match where no one is talking at all, either with voice or text chat. I bet that was frustrating. I bet your team didn't work too well together. The first thing you should do when you get into a match is try to get as many teammates engaged as possible. Let them know you're there and that you're willing to work as a team. Essentially, that you are engaged yourself. Say hello, crack a joke, ask for hero selection input, etc. The more teammates you can get to respond, either voice or text, the better. When they make that first communication, they're breaking a barrier and joining the team, instead of playing solo. Your focus on team engagement should not stop throughout the duration of the game. When communication gets quiet, make a conscious effort to inject some energy back into it. When people disengage from the team dynamic, that is the first step to giving up. The second principle is acceptance. You need to realize that your team is full of individuals with different personalities, different backgrounds, different playstyles, and different ideas. Say that you tried to get that lone Hanzo main to talk and be engaged with the team, but it didn't work. Do not dwell on things you disagree with and things you cannot control. Maybe the lone wolf doesn't speak your language. Maybe they have severe social anxiety. Maybe they've been trained to not respond because of verbal abuse. Once you or your team has decided you lost because someone won't communicate or cooperate with the team, you're putting yourself at a huge deficit. Accept the fact that things are not going your way and do what you can to adjust to your situation. The third principle is reciprocity. Deeply rooted in human psychology is the concept of fairness and reciprocity. If someone gives you something or does something for you, you have a natural inclination to do something in return. Marketers use this principle every day to promote business. Lobbyists use reciprocity to manipulate politicians. You can use it to get ornery teammates to change their behaviors. Most prominently, you can use reciprocity to help your team select heroes more cohesively. For example, I'll offer to switch to Lucio if one of the extra DPSs plays Diva to finish a dive composition. One note of warning, make sure to frame the deal positively and not like an ultimatum. If your team perceives your deal as if you'll throw if they do not do what you want, you're going to have a bad time. The fourth principle is focus. Your team's focus on the objective, which I want to clarify is to win, not necessarily focus on the capture point or payload, is important because it is the one thing you know you have in common with your team. Just lose a big team fight? Re-engage your team by reassuring that you can still win the match. If you can keep their minds on the game, they'll remain more cohesive as a team. When teammates get salty or toxic or tilted, they generally lose focus on winning and the team becomes less cohesive. Do whatever you can to get them realigned on winning. The fifth principle is likability. People work better with people they like. Your ability to be liked will have a direct impact on your team's dynamic. This is one of the harder principles for players to work on. For some people, likability comes naturally, for others, it doesn't. Generally, the more you interact with someone, the more you like each other, so this principle is closely related to engagement. In hero select and pre-game preparation, make sure to break the ice, use your desire to win to establish rapport, and I'm dead serious, try telling a joke. The sixth principle is appreciation. A little bit of praise can go a long way. When people feel better, they play better. Acknowledge when your teammates make good plays, save your ass, make sacrifices to benefit the team, or even just for staying as a group. Be selfless in your praise and expect none in return. If you set up a huge game-winning play, give your team credit. Your team will be more cohesive than if you took credit for the point capture yourself. The seventh and last principle is positivity. This principle seems straightforward enough, but it is rarely taken far enough. When your team stays positive, morale stays high, people perform better, and your team does better. But since these principles are focused on communication, let's look at how we talk to our teammates. There's often more than one way of saying the same thing, but it will be received in vastly different ways. When you use positive speech frameworks to address your teammates, they're much more likely to interpret it positively. Negative speech frameworks are much more likely to be taken as insults or personal attacks. Consider these two phrases. Can we not have a Hanzo? Wolfman123, are there any other heroes you're good at? Both phrases are addressing the team's desire to have a different hero pick. The first phrase is framed negatively and will immediately put the Hanzo player on the defensive. The first phrase is a connotation that the player is doing something wrong and will immediately drive a wedge between that player and the rest of the team. The second phrase is framed positively and will likely not put the player on the defensive. The second phrase has a hidden compliment, implying the player is good at Hanzo and probably other heroes. Because we're addressing the player positively, they're much more likely to cooperate with the team and create a good composition. Additionally, the second phrase has the added benefit of being more engaging as it leads to conversation. It also serves the principle of reciprocity, as the player will take the hidden compliment and have a sense of obligation to return a favor in some way. And that's all there is to it, just use your ear flaps. Thanks for watching, Islanders. I hope this guide on how to get your teammates to work together has been helpful. Let me know what you're going to take away from this guide and apply to your games down below in the comments. As a recap, engagement. Get your team engaged in the conversation, whether it is vocal or textual. Keep your team energized and passionate throughout the whole match. Acceptance. Understand that your team is made up of unique individuals. Understand that things will not always go your way. Never exclude teammates from the team, mentally or in-game. Reciprocity. Use human nature to your advantage. Give to your teammates knowing they will be inclined to give back. Make deals, but never ultimatums. Focus. Keep the team aligned on winning. The desire to win is the strongest common factor your team can rally around. Use a focus on winning to keep salt and toxicity at bay. Likeability. Make people enjoy playing with you. Be friendly, lighthearted, and don't forget to laugh. Try telling jokes. Appreciate. Give compliments and acknowledgement liberally. Compliments cost you nothing and have no cooldowns. Acknowledge your team's efforts and praise them frequently. Positivity. Use both a positive mentality and a positive speech framework. Don't say anything that can be taken as an insult. Avoid negative words at all times. This has been a guide on team management and is part of a series on the Fundamental Pyramid of Overwatch. If you enjoy this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to show your support.